Hello, everybody. It's Root Beer. Welcome to the Root Beer channel, where it's just Root Beer hosting because Atlas is doing like a Passover dinner with his friend's place, and Matt probably didn't see the message putting up the stream room because I posted it like 2 minutes before going live. I was eating dinner right beforehand. But yeah, so today's probably going to be a bit of a shorter stream just because, like, no Atlas to bounce off of and tell life stories. I'm sure we'll get that next week. And me personally, I'm just a very boring person. There really just wasn't very much going on. Okay,
Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. Oh, my
that's
camera's
okay.
offline. Give me something.
Your camera is not available. That's okay. I only just started.
How are you doing, Root Beer?
I'm not doing too bad. How's about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Just there I am. Waha.
There you are.
I had to plug it in because I had it unplugged for different things.
Understandable.
I was replaying through Lunar Silver Star Story.
I have no idea what that is.
It's an old PlayStation 1 RPG. It's like 20 hours. It's pretty short.
That's fair. I finally got around to starting the second part of the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll keep my thoughts to myself for now.
Yeah, I only just finished the like flashback and that getting into the game proper.
Gotcha.
I don't know. There was a decent chunk of time where it's like I felt like starting the game and then just like didn't. Yeah. Anything interesting going on? Atlas is at a Passover dinner with friends, so we don't have him to rely on to just yap.
I was on break this week, so pretty much nothing.
Nice.
Like I said, I replayed Lunar this week. Pretty fun time. Old game. Lots of things that like they could just do in the 90s that you were like that would probably not get away with doing now.
Such as?
You know, like the way they translated one thing, the way they the localization of that game has a lot of liberties taken. So they were having a good time, I'll say.
All right.
Pretty funny game. But yeah, no, I just wanted to replay it because the remastered collection came out today, so I wanted to replay the PlayStation 1 version.
Yeah.
Because I hate the Sega CD with a passion, which is the original version. I'm not playing that shit.
That is fair.
I thought about replaying Lunar 2 immediately following it, and then I decided to play the new Last Epoch League. So I've been doing that, basically.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I was saying at the beginning before you joined, I'm a very boring person. I don't have a whole lot going on. A lot of my day is like telling myself I should do something and then not doing any of the like 3 different things I could have done. Right? Like I could catch up on my anime backlog, I could catch up on my gaming backlog, or I could be productive and draw and or record videos.
So you're not watching the new Uma Musume series?
I am not.
Disappointing.
I know.
So what do you think about Gura's graduation?
Yeah, I was gonna get to that one. I don't know. It's weird because, like, I don't know. I guess the feeling is like resigned, just like, like it's probably more irritating watching everyone doom about it than it is like actually processing any feeling about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think this is terribly unexpected.
Yeah,
she had already been streaming less and less anyway.
Yeah, like for the last like 3 years now, she'd pop up once every 3 months to do a tourism ad. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'm shocked it didn't happen like a while ago.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, like seeing people talk about it was like probably more emotionally draining than actually dealing with the graduation itself.
Yeah,
and you know, it does sound very unfortunate for her because she sounded like she was in a pretty bad state.
Yeah,
like,
and but I hope, yeah,
hopefully it gets better, but also
the pressure from Hololive and etc.
Yeah, but also just like, I don't know, it does feel like that fame would just follow her everywhere. Everyone already knew who she was beforehand, and then, you know, her voice is pretty recognizable, and I think a lot of people are just going to be expecting some sort of return on the indies.
Yeah, well, I feel like this graduation is different than like Fano's, so I don't particularly expect that. But
We'll see.
I hope that her situation improves.
Yeah, and
without
also
this extra pressure.
Yeah, and also like to my understanding, didn't she disappear like a year before joining Hololive, like in her old persona? Like she got popular, then slowly over time like disappeared before suddenly appearing again in Hololive.
Something like that. I don't know the specifics of that. That was too long ago.
Yeah, that was a really long time ago, but that was my understanding. Is like she already kind of did this before, where she started getting really big and just kind of disappeared.
I mean, I don't really,
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine the pressure and like expectations on you, like when you're as big as Gura got, especially how fast too.
Yeah.
I just can't even imagine. Like it seems like actual nightmare scenario.
Same. Like if this ever became any sort of sustainable thing for me, I think I would settle for being somewhere around like MBT size, where like MBT is still relatively comprehensible. Like you can still recognize some names, and his channel is big enough to be a sustainable career, but not so big that people would instantly recognize me on the street.
Right.
It would just be like, yeah, all the nerds who play card games will recognize me when I go to a card game thing. And that's like the level of fame I would want if this ever became like a sustainable career.
Yeah, my friends see MBT at like random card shops, but mostly because he lives in the area.
Yeah,
so like it's not like unreasonable that like he'll see him around. But yeah, it's
But yeah, that's kind of my feeling about the Gura graduation. And hi Zaru, no Atlas today. He's doing a Passover dinner with friends.
Yep.
So I guess the other big thing that happened this week is we figured out what the fuck was happening with Air Neos.
What was happening with Air Neos? I missed this.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't see this. So
I didn't see it.
This became a thing like last night where like someone dug up some old legal documents, because a thing in the Yu-Gi-Oh community for the last little while has been like the conspicuous absence of Air Neos.
Right.
He never appears. Like it's never been reprinted. He never appears in all the like hero splash.
They cut him out of the art,
all the like other Neos forms and everything. And so for years, people have been wondering, like, what the fuck is going on with Air Neos? So it turns out, like, sometime yesterday or the day before, like, someone found some old court documents from, like, 2008 or something about a lawsuit between, like, an independent comic company and Konami about the design of Air Neos. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, let's see if I can find the
17-year-old court document.
Yeah,
I know why this card can never be printed on a card ever again.
But yeah.
Holy shit.
So there's this like independent comic design called like Ravidactyl or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, and so there were someone on Facebook just dug up these like old court documents about a lawsuit between Konami about the design of that. And it seems like, to the best of people's knowledge that they could figure out, they had settled the lawsuit out of courts because, of course.
Right.
They did.
They don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, but, it seems like whatever happened in that, Konami decided not to print Air Neos anymore for whatever reason.
I just want to say that these are nothing alike. Except for their color, and they have wings.
Yeah. Like, they have vaguely similar silhouettes, but, like, probably not enough for the lawsuit to actually work. And yes, MBT finally putting his law degree to use. And just...
we also found this court.
Yeah, it's been great. Oh, yeah, also, I guess we got a Hungry Burger retrain. This is completely separate to the Air Neos thing, but...
Well, it has cheese and onions on it now? It's now a real burger.
Yeah, it's the Angry Burger.
They put cheese and onions on that thing. That's crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, MBT made a video about it. I think Ruxin made a video, like, interviewing the guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there is. Like, this guy, Greg Weich.
Why is it always Ruxin? How is it always Ruxin?
I don't know, but yeah, like Ruxin did an interview with the guy. I haven't watched it because it's like an hour long.
I haven't watched the new Ruxin ban list video.
I know. Oh, the Ruxin ban list was good.
It always is.
Yeah, he actually vaguely had an idea of at least some of the cards this
Damn
time.
it.
Because it was stuff like Abyss Dweller and Masterpiece.
Oh yeah, it's hard to know. Hard to not know about Abyss Dweller since that card's been around for like a billion years.
You know, the vibe of it is like this is a small independent creator who was trying to protect his IP and
I get it.
Probably got talked into suing for a lot of money by some lawyers because lawyers will kind of do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, fascinating little story where we finally solved this like ancient mystery of the Yu-Gi-Oh community.
That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely crazy. Yeah. Now we know. We figured it out.
Now we know.
This is insane. Like actually insane. It's been so long.
Right?
And it's just been there the whole time.
Yep.
For those with eyes to see.
Yeah, see, like we don't get stuff like this in the Vanguard community. Like the closest we had to a disappeared card was like Amon. And didn't we like vaguely have an idea that it was just a dispute with the artist?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all it was.
Yeah,
boring and lame.
Yeah, and then we got the V Amon, so it's like, well, that's been dealt with, I guess. Well, I guess that's the other thing is like Konami never credits their artists for anything. So like when cards don't get imported, it creates this like interesting mystery about like what could be happening there. Like, is there something going on with the artist or some rights dispute, stuff like that? And for us, it's like, okay, well, we know who the artist is. We can just Google them to see if they're dead.
Or this card showed too much cleavage. That's all it could be.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, those were the like two interesting little internet brain worms this week. It was Gura's graduation and solving the mystery of Air Neos at the 11th hour yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So yeah, I guess aside from our standard little yap sessions, the thing we tend to do is new cards. So we still have some cards from last week that I didn't cover, and then all the stuff from this week. I might also talk about the anime because we just got the season finale this week, and then that'll probably be it for the stream because I was gonna stream the Master Duel event, and then I played it for like 2 games. I'm like, this is fucking lame. Let's not actually do this.
Sometimes those Master Duel events are just absolutely miserable.
Yeah, so this time it's like triangle event with different attributes. You have like dark water, I think it was light earth, and then fire wind are the attributes.
Okay.
So hand traps are scattered all over the place. The event is at least partially designed to make you play the new Dominus hand traps. And I tried bringing Raid Raptor into it, and it was terrible because Raid Raptor was like the only full dark deck I could easily play without changing much. All right, so new cards. So I'm just taking them off Twitter this time, partially because of banger tweet that I made earlier, and partially because Atlas isn't here, so I can do this because it's easier. So we're getting some tournament promos that were revealed last Thursday. I think we didn't do it last week because we were doing the set review, and I didn't want to be here for 3 hours.
Only 3 months behind, not bad.
Yeah. So this is support for Bastion and Alden. So it gets boost. This is like the 15th Bastion card that does this. And when either your other units placed on the rearguard circle during your battle phase, or you stand something in the same column, if your Vanguard is Bastion or Alden, you may stand it, and if you stood it, put it into your soul. And then if it's put on the guard circle and you have one of the 2 guys, you can reveal one of the 2 guys. If you revealed something or you just have them, it gets shield +5. I swear this is a card that already exists for Bastion.
It feels like it does, but it might not. But it feels like this card exists.
Mm-hmm. Like, if it doesn't exist, we have like 2 or 3 other cards that more or less do the same thing as this one. But I guess it also works in Alden, and it works with both versions of Alden. I know the like old Alden cared a lot about having different grades, so a grade 3 with boost actually does something for that deck. I don't know what this does for Destined Alden. It exists.
There's no all it needs to do.
What is next up? We have a turnip now.
Oh my god.
So this is Granfia support. This deck is being supported entirely by promos at this point.
Awful.
If you have a Noblesse token, you Soul Blast one, choose one of the Noblesse tokens, and you can perform one of the following. You can attach it as a plant gauge for that Noblesse token. If your card with the same name as this unit was not put to the bottom of your deck this turn, put the top 3 cards of your deck face up as plant gauges for the Noblesse token, and then bottom deck this card. And then as a plant, and if it is a plant gauge, the Noblesse Rose token cannot be affected by card effects because they didn't think to put that there the first time around. So we need a Band-Aid promo to make the deck work. This Estacion, it is not. And then when it's discarded as a plant gauge, you bind it, mandatory cost. I mean, this is fine. Like, the Noblesse token desperately needed some form of protection. Like, unlike Estacion, you can remake the token in Granfia, but it does mean you're losing all your plant gauges, so, like, being able to protect that is pretty helpful. Anyways, Granfia is probably still not a real deck, although Atlas did lose to it at BCS if you go back and watch our recaps.
Get owned.
Yeah. Next up, we have Lyrical support for Hazoret.
Oh, yeah.
Yay. Surely this will be really good. So either at the end of the battle attacks during your turn, or if it's discarded during your turn, if you have a Hazoret Vanguard, you can put it into your soul.
Sure.
That deck does need soul. If you're grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Hazoret in its name, and you don't have a rear guard with the same name as this card, Counterblast 1 from the drop zone. Call it from drop zone, and it gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. And if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, it can attack from the back row.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I mean, sure. This doesn't help the fact that your numbers are terrible, but sure.
A whole 13k attack, Pog.
Mm-hmm. We also have a new generic Dark States promo, Flaros. So when it's discarded from your hand during your turn, you can put it into your soul. And
Sure.
then on attack, choose a card from drop zone, put it into your soul. If your opponent's grade 3 or greater, it gets power plus 5,000.
Simple.
Yeah.
Card.
All 2 Barrow Magnus supporters are all 2 Barrow Magnus enjoyers are rejoicing right now.
Crazy. That's the most uninteresting card I've read yet.
Yeah. We have a new base order. Stop printing important cards as promos. They were able to put the new strategy order for, what's it called? Avant-Garde as like a common in set 7. Surely they could have just put this into a set. We didn't need the like 15th common that says power plus 5,000. Anyways, act in the order zone. You can rest it. Choose a card with B hero from a drop zone that does not share a name with the card in your order zone. Scout it. If you have 4 or more bases in your order zone, put the standing card into your soul. Choose up to 1 grade 2 or less B hero and his card name from your drop. Put it in your hand. Choose one of your vanguards with B hero in his name. Reduce the next time you pay that unit's ability by Counterblast 1. My understanding is this is designed to help out with the new grade 3 that like re-rides into the old one, so you can not have to pay that cost. Yes. I don't know how this deck functions.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're doing a great job.
I don't know what this B hero deck does.
Neither do I, don't worry.
Have you seen anyone play it?
Nope. We do have a new world card. Orphis finally has a grade 1 world.
Holy shit.
So when it's put into the order zone, choose a grade 3 with Orphis. Either reveal it, or if you have one, draw a card.
Okay.
If your order zone has world cards, you get Dark Knight, Abyssal Dark Knight, standard.
Sure.
And then act in the order zone. If you have a grade 3 or greater Orphis, and this card was not put into the order zone, Soul Blast 1, rest this card. Call a Shadow Army token to rearguard circle. This card's name becomes Casting Shadows in the Dark Knight until end of turn. Apparently, this is relevant for certain support cards.
So you can't. So it's like a delayed Shadow Army.
Yeah.
But you
So
get one every turn after the turn you play, but not on the turn you play it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, I think because it's a grade 1, I think the expectation is that you play it early, and then once you hit grade 3, you can just make free Shadow Army tokens,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty nice. I think one of the problems, at least with like Orphist Regis, is like you're constantly having to like discard cards, so trying to like build a board and maintain hand advantage at the same time gets problematic. And then, I don't know if anyone's even still playing Orphist Mask. I don't see that deck anymore. All right, next up, we have the Ace unit for Dark States. So the unique skill that is once per fight is on play, not during the battle phase, plus 5,000, Energy Blast 3. Look at the top 7, choose a card, put it into your soul, then choose something with grade less than equal to Vanguard from your soul, call it a Rearguard Circle. Sure. This is in fact a Dark States ass card.
Yep.
And then on attack, if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, plus 5k. And then if you either have 5 or more cards in your soul, or you soul blast 3 or more, it gets another 5k. So, like the Dragon Empire one, it is designed to get you some amount of card advantage, where Dragon Empire was like draw, retire. This one is just like, okay, toolbox your soul a little bit. And like all of the other ones we're going to see, it gets like 15k. Like, this is fine. All of the Ace units so far have been, probably a decent standard for a once per fight kind of ability, where it is really strong. Like, I could definitely see you just playing it because being able to grab any card from your deck and or soul is like pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just big.
Is this a promo as well?
No, these are coming in the festival collection, so
okay,
it's triple R.
Thank fucking God.
Yeah.
I was concerned.
Understandable. Next up, we have the generic triple R from the festival booster. Also, they made a mistake when translating it. It should be or instead of and. So, continuous, it gets intercept and 5k shield, and then once per turn on attack, if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, you Energy Blast 3. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, it gets plus 5k, and then if you either have 4 or more damage or you Persona Road this turn, it gets another 5k for each unit or each grade of the thing retired for this. So this is kind of the theme all of them are following for like the generic Dragon triple R's in Festival collection, is like Energy Blast 3, do something related to your nation, in this case retiring a card. This one specifically feels like just a weaker version of the Ace unit, where the Ace unit like draws a card and then bypasses protection on the retire. This one is like just a normal retire, and then they gain similar levels of power. Because these are like 18k base. It also has intercept and 5k shield, which is pretty nice. Like, I kind of like these. They're not like so amazing that they're going to be these like ridiculous $30 staples the way that like the Dual Nations were, but like they're nice for just filling space and deck building, especially if you're playing a deck that doesn't use very much energy.
Mm-hmm. And it does get incredibly huge.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So next up, we got the Tuesday stream reveals. So we have the same big buff dragon for Dark States.
You gonna pronounce that one?
Fixed time dragon, Proyas Roya.
I like that. That's what I would have said.
So like the Dragon Empire one, it gets 5k intercept and 5k shield. Then on attack, you can Energy Blast 3. Choose any of one player's rear guard, put it into the soul. Gets 5k until end of battle. And then if you're either at limit break or you Persona Road, gets auto when your opponent's unit is put on the grade circle. If that unit's grade is equal to the card put into the soul by this unit's auto ability, that unit gets shield -5. Kind of an interesting condition on that one. I'm not sure what the odds are of you getting the same grade, but like, I guess if you eat one of your opponent's grade 2s, like maybe you can stop them from intercepting. But I feel like your opponent would just play around that condition, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So yeah, unlikely to get the additional power condition on this one, but still, like 18k beater that removes a card, still has 5k shield. That's not like terrible. Next up, Cataclysmic Dragon Gorsdom.
They're just making up words.
Gorsdom. So this is the intercept dragon for Brantgate. So on attack, Energy Blast 3, just bind one of your opponent's rear guard, sure, and it gets 5k. And then Persona Ride or Limit Break, it gets an additional 5k, and your opponent can't play Blitz orders.
Sure, whatever.
I mean, that one's at least that one's easy.
Yeah. Simple.
Yep. Next up, the Brantgate Ace unit. On play, plus 5k, then you can enter the last 3. Look at the top 3 guards, add 1 to your hand, shuffle. If your order zone has 2 or more of any player's cards, that's a
it's for prison.
Oh yeah, I guess for like prison, and I guess also what's it called, Vice Ruger.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the top 5 instead of the top 3. I don't know. This one feels weaker than all the other ones so far.
Yeah, I'm
like
not...
the Dark States one just gets to check top 7. Why is this one only locked?
But the Dark States one has to put it into Soul, right? And then you have to call something out of Soul.
Yeah.
So like this lets you put it in your hand, so you get any on play from hand effects. I guess is kind of the idea.
That's true.
And it can also get any card. It can also get orders.
That's true.
So this one's a little more unique because the other one has to call a unit.
Yeah. Well, you can still get something like an order and just like call a rear guard that was already.
Yeah, but you don't get it to your hand to play, right? That's like the whole.
That's
point.
True. And then on attack, if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, plus 5k until end of battle, then you can rest a set order, gets another 5k. That one's okay.
Sure.
Next up, we got some Vergila support. So we have a new one, rewrite form Alf Knights. I guess like Alfred.
Oh, sure. I thought they meant Alf, like the guy who like the alien that like eats a bunch of food.
Yeah. So it has the rewrite ability. They keep coming up with new keywords. Hand, if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, bind the original Vergila, ride this card as stand, perform all of the following. At the end of the turn, ride the card bound as rest. So search your deck for up to 1 Galaxian. So I assume that refers to like Vergila and like Ezwar. And then call to rear guard circle, then search your deck or drop for 1 ultimate skill card, put it into your hand. If you search the deck, shuffle the deck. That's pretty good. Now, one of the complaints I had about the Vergila deck was like recycling ultimate skills from the drop zone. And then until end of turn, it also gets red text. On attack, counterblast 1, stand all of your front row rear guards, and it gets drive +1. And then all of your front row units get 5k for each card with the same name as this unit in your soul.
All right.
Yeah.
Seems fine.
Yeah, seems pretty fine. Like, the one thing I will say about this is, unlike a lot of the newer rewriting cards, this does not activate Persona Ride.
Right.
So I don't know if that means you're going to be playing multiple copies of the old Vergila too, so you would Persona Ride and then ride into this, which could take up a lot of space in deck building, or if they're treating it more like the grade 4s, because like it does get the drive +1, and then it does give power +5,000 for each copy of itself in the soul. So that does kind of feel very grade 4-ish, where in lieu of Persona Ride, they just have like an alternate power gain.
Yeah, if you had a way to like shove one into soul before going into this one, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Otherwise, it feels like you would have to like ride the Vergila, then or Persona Ride the old Vergila, then re-ride into this, which is just, like I said, a lot of space in deck building. So if we can like figure out that little wrinkle of awkwardness, this is a very strong card. Like, just gives you 5 attacks, extra drive plus extra power.
Right.
And like searching a ultimate skill is also just really nice. We are also getting the reprints and festival booster for all of the dual nation cards. So the Dark States Brantgate and then the little like cabbage one. Neither of those were particularly expensive in the first place, but you know, Ford, Valtrosa, and Asperonia all are really expensive. I think all of them are like $50, $70 cards.
God.
So, hooray! These 3 specifically will be $30 again instead of $70. Yay! I mean, it's good that they're being reprinted at least.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they did post all the reprints. All right, good. So next up, we have the Ace unit for Stoicheia. So this one, unique skill on play. plus 5k, and then you energy blast 3. Look at the top 7, choose one card from among them, discard it, then choose any card from drop with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, and call it to Rearguard Circle. So basically the Dark States one, but drop zone instead of soul. And then on attack, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, it gets power plus 5,000 until the end of the battle. And then if there are 10 or more cards in the drop zone, it gets another 5.
Sure.
Yeah. Again,
Whatever.
this one is... I feel like Stoicheia already has like 10 different cards that do this, but sure.
Yeah, I guess if you have free energy, why not?
Yep. So just another card that does that. Like, this card is good. Just like, it is kind of at least a little bit redundant. And then the other big thing today, I'm going to go in a different order. We got the King of Knights, Alfred. So this is going to be a triple R in the Festival Collection. So they had already announced that a little bit earlier. We are now seeing his full abilities. So, much like the old one, it cannot be boosted. Then, if your soul has Blaster Blade, unlike the old one, it gets power plus 2,000 for each of your rear guards. And then if it's increased by 8,000 or more, and your opponent's grade 3 or greater, it also gets a critical.
Sure.
Like, basically, flavor of the old Alfred. That's pretty nice.
23k, 2 crit. Got it.
Yep. Then Act, you can Energy Blast 3. Damn, we've moved on from Counter Blasting 3. Search your deck for one grade 3 or less card that's only a Royal Paladin. Call it to Rearguard Circle. And then you can choose one of that unit's auto abilities. Reduce the next time you pay that cost by Counter Blast 1.
All right.
Damn, not only is it not Counter Blast 3, he's giving you back Counter Blasts 2. And then on attack, Counter Blast 1, restand a Royal Paladin. If your opponent's grade 3 or greater, choose 2 Royal Paladins instead of 1.
Hey, neat.
Yeah, this is pretty neat. So, obviously the big limiting factor is that there just are not that many good Royal Paladin cards to be playing right now. But obviously they're not going to reveal Alfred.
I wish they went more on it being the old Alfred art instead of trying to modernize it at all.
Yeah.
It looks a little weird to me.
It does look a little weird. I think it's the perspective. It looked really nice in the preview without the text box and everything, but that one was also bigger, so you can kind of get the full scope of it. But it was drawn by Akira Ito, which is pretty nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyways, Royal Paladins that you need to search. So we have Shining Winged Star Dragon Vergila. This card is always regarded as Soul Saver Dragon.
Okay.
It's very much like the 15 different Umis in Yu-Gi-Oh! During your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Alfred, it gets plus 5,000. And if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, it gains all of the following abilities. Front row, at the beginning of your battle phase, Counter Blast 1, choose 3 of your units to get plus 5k until end of turn. If you Persona Ride, all units get plus 5k. And then when it attacks, if it was stood by the ability of your Vanguard this turn, and you did not perform a drive check during the battle your rearguard attacks, Soul Blast a King of Knights Alfred until end of turn, increase or decrease the drive to 1, and it performs drive checks.
This is kind of nuts, no?
Yeah, but anyways, I just posted this. Because this is like the 8th card that they printed that basically does this, Because do you remember?
Yeah, but this is going to be reduced by Counter Blast 1, so it's basically going to be free, no?
Yeah. The 5k to all units is free, though your opponent does have to be at grade 3 for that.
Okay.
So either going so you're not going to be able to do this going first, at least.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Yeah, very powerful. But yeah, I just posted this because they have printed so many cards that get rearguard drive checks recently. The Keter OT is becoming more and more irrelevant with each passing day. Because, how many cards have they printed that have done this now? There was, that old grade 3 from all the way back in set 3. Do you remember the one that's, Counter Blast 2? Rest all of your rear guards if you didn't want to discard a million cards. That was terrible, but also Bastion players coped on it for way longer than they should have. Then Bastion himself, Bastion Accord, can give something a rearguard drive check. There's the Blaster Dark promo that gives Blaster Dark drive checks.
Yep.
Let's see. Then in DZ, we have Undercover Obscudide, which I had put onto the meme, that gets a rearguard drive check if you have Undercover. We have Gobwellius, that, like, when you're at Limit Break and it was placed by a Faded one, gets a rearguard drive check. We also have Solryron Mask, that gives things drive checks with the remove ability. We're getting Houndraiser in set 7 that can give the back row center an extra drive check. And now we're getting Soul Saver that also does a rearguard drive check. Like, I honestly could have made this meme much bigger, but this felt right, because all 3 of these are like the closest in ability. So yeah, that was like a fun little thing I thought up last night. Next up, so this is a double R that's coming in the set. Unfortunately, this one is going to be a promo attached to CoroCoro, which I mean, if they have been releasing all the Skyride
Gallatin.
promos. Yeah, this one's Gallatin.
I've not heard that name in a long time.
I know, right? So Starry Night 0, it's always Night of Silence Gallatin. But yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait however many months for like Volume 4 or whatever this is attached to like come out in English. But at least we are getting the CoroCoro or the Skyride promos. You just have to buy 4 copies of the manga. Anyways, I am absolutely 100% mailing you guys my extra copies. Atlas doesn't know I'm doing this, but he'll find out. So if you have a Vanguard with only Royal Paladin, you can pay it with Energy Blast 3 instead. When it's placed on Rearguard Circle, if you don't have a Rearguard with the same name as this unit, cost Counter Blast 1, draw a card. On attack, when attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, it gets 5k until end of battle. If you have 4 more units, plus 10 instead of plus 5. And then when this unit attacks, if you have a Vanguard that is only Royal Paladin and you Persona Road this turn, and it stood by the ability of your Vanguard, you can Counterblast 1, your opponent cannot activate auto abilities. So anything that has like a guard ability, like a perfect guard, or some sort of auto ability to increase its own shield for something, I don't know, something that's like Soul Blast 1 plus 5k shield, you can't use those anymore. So, like, this card is good. Like, obviously, being able to draw cards is always really good. I believe the first 2 abilities are generic. Like, obviously, you can change the cost to Energy Blast 3 if you have a Royal Paladin Vanguard, but I believe Counter Blast 1 draw is generic, and then the, like, plus 5 or plus 10 is also generic. So, if you just want, like, a 20k beater that draws you a card, this is, like, something you could consider. But obviously, like, the thing you actually wanted for is the ability to just Ichikashima turn off your opponent's Guardian skills, basically. So I believe, similar to Blankmeyer's Divine skill, certain effects that occur like when you attack them, stuff like what's it called? Shoujo Doji or Android, the like Direful Doll guy, I believe those are still able to activate since they're happening like on attack. Or they're both triggering at the same time, so you can like resolve that, and then anything you put on the guard circle like afterwards, when this ability has resolved, like those can't activate their auto abilities anymore. Is what everyone has been saying is how this works.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, we're just going over like a shitload of reprints. So I don't remember what the hell this is, but I remember Atlas giving me 4 copies to like fill space in Varga, because I randomly built that during the BCS, and then I didn't need it. I think this was like a stealth support card. This is like the rewriter for Tamayura. This was support for Eugene / Gondiva. I have no idea what the hell this grade 1 is. Next up, yeah. Next up for Dark States, this is a Diablos guy, Direful Doll. I don't actually know what either of these cards do. I do remember what Netherworld Butcher does. That's the one that turns off intercepting for Blankmeyer. And like on boost, it can like put a card from drop zone into Soul. That's pretty nice. Plutonic Prospector, support for Astroya and Omina Grugio. So it lets you put it into Soul, search top 7 for a grade 3, and then I think if you have a trigger in your bind zone, it gets 5k shield, if I remember correctly. And I have no idea what the hell these other 2 cards are. Sorry. I'm doing a great job. Oh, right. One of these is going to be the rewrite card for, what's it called? the Dark States glitter guy. I don't remember his name right now. Chaos.
Yeah. With a
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so since they're reprinting it for all of them, I assume one of these cards is the Reride guy. So for a Brantgate, Vivacious Girl, I don't know what that does. The B Hero guy, this is Bulbul Mine if you have base cards.
Sure. I recognize the bottom left card.
Yeah. Winston, this is support for what's it called? The arms guy, Silhouette Man.
Mm-hmm.
This is Blitz support. And then finally we have Imagar, the Reride guy for Eva. There's also a bunch of common cards being reprinted. I don't actually know what any of those are. Let's see what's up. Next is Keter Sanctuary. So Reride for Thagrea. One of these is Alden support. I don't know what the Scissor Angel or the Dragon does. I know that this dragon was like Blaster support, because I just looked at it. Also, in this one specifically, they are highlighting that they're reprinting Maron and Wingull Brave, because you need those for Alfred.
Yep.
Next up, I actually know what most of the Stoicheia ones do, funny enough. So, the grade 1 Reride for Rora. I think this is the only card that I don't know what it does. Mega Colony Battler Type C is the one where you can have like 16 copies of it, and then you can like Soul Blast to give it like 5k for copies of itself or something like that. The Mythish card, it restands itself, and I think it stuns something. I don't remember what the second effect is. But I do remember that this card restands itself, and it's very strong in premium right now. Who knows what will happen when Gridora is hit to 1. The Apple is Magnolia support, as is the other one, I'm assuming, because they're both Sylvan Horned Beasts.
Right.
Lyrical. This was a promo grade 3 where like you can only use cards that don't have abilities. This was a Pacifica promo. This is the other order card for what's her name? Michu. So this is the order that like stuns a thing. I don't remember what these two cards do. Hi, Ed. We're probably wrapping up soon because Atlas isn't here. And I did not.
And I don't know
really
what
think
any
of
of these
other
cards
plans.
do.
Yeah. We are getting all the Koro reprinted. We'll see if we actually get this in English, but if we do, Atlas will finally be able to play the other Welstra.
I will say, this is completely unrelated to Vanguard. I had a rough couple weeks because they announced the new characters in City of the Wolves are going to be like the most random thing ever. Which, after seeing the characters, I hate one of them. I hate that Ronaldo's in it a lot more than I hate that Salvatore guy's in it. I don't know who the Salvatore guy is, but he seems like he's having a good time.
Oh yeah. Assuming these come over and aren't randomly left out of the set, this will be the first time we're getting these specific cards.
We're not getting these cards. There's no shot.
I mean, they're giving us the Koro set. It's coming next month. So there's actually a non-zero chance we get all these cards.
Yeah. Well, not even DLC. They're just base roster.
Yeah. And then finally, all of the special reprints. So we're getting Blaze Maiden Cindy, a very relevant reprint because Bavsagra is very good. And this card is like $30 because of it. I have no idea what the hell this card is. Servant Falcratia. This card's already gotten a couple printings. It's not the most expensive card anymore, but it is always nice to have it just in case. Like, you never know. Falcratia is useful enough that you never know when it might randomly become $30 again. So, like, having a bunch of printings for them is, like, fine.
Well, if it's like KOF 15, the animation won't even be the opening animation. The Obari animation will just be like somewhere else.
Yeah. I know this was some sort of stupid Orphis support. I don't remember what it does. Mikani is nice. I don't think it's super expensive anymore, but you know, it is still see use in Messiah. I saw some people using it in Chronojet, so it's one of those like, who knows? If a Dark States or Brantgate deck suddenly needs the Soul Charge 2 for some reason, this might be expensive again. Helmveld, this was a promo card that was based around like orders, so you know how Bushiro will randomly print like a grade 3 boss unit that's just a promo for no reason? That's one of those.
Yep, every time.
Blaster Blade the Vanguard. So this was something where like, okay, it was Blaster support, you get to like rewrite it, and it made your Majesty Lord Blaster like 18k by default, so it would be like 23 with his own, or 20k with his own ability. because I believe MLB in D only gets 2k in a crit. So yeah, it becomes like 18k with Blaster Blade the Vanguard, and then you get like an additional Vanguard attack. That's pretty neat. They are also reprinting actual Blaster Blade because you need it for Alfred, and this card is currently like $30 because of Alfred. Also reprinting Mythiarch Habitat. I believe this is the third printing of this card. Not the most expensive thing, but, you know, like with Servant Falcratia, this is one of those cards where, like, if a deck is using it, might suddenly become really expensive for no reason. Similar logic there with Maple. Lyrical Shooting Stars, this is Kyoka support. Kyoka hasn't been relevant for a while, but, you know, if you wanted to play the deck and couldn't find this card for some reason, that's nice. And this is like the 10 millionth printing of Yuika. This card will never be less than $30 because every time they make a new Lyrical deck, this card gets bought out. And yeah, oh, right. We're also getting the Stoicheia Dragon. So it gets 5 shield, intercept, you know, same as the other ones. When it's placed on Rearguard Circle, if your guard is great through rear, energy blast 3 until end of turn. This gets power plus 5,000. Your opponent can't intercept for the battle attacks. And then if your damage is 4 or you Persona Road, it gets an additional 5k, and then you can return an order from drop zone to your hand. This one's fine.
Sure.
Yeah. And yeah, that was everything for this week. So I'm just going to leave this meme on screen because I like this one. But yeah, that was all the new cards from this week and the stuff we didn't get to last week.
Oh yeah, last week was set review, right?
Yeah, last week was set review.
$60 Yuikas. Beautiful.
Yeah, because Artisaria came out and needs to use Yuika. So it's like every time they print a halfway relevant Lyrical deck, it's like, oh, time for Yuika to get bought out again.
Unfortunate.
You know, so also, as far as like other things that haven't been confirmed to be reprinted, I know Sergalon and Shenri are going to be coming in the form of the Koro reprints, so we don't really need those. Same with all the like order support cards like Teeth Fault and everything. Those are also in the Koro set. So those are not particularly conspicuous absences. Those have gotten reprints in some capacity. And then the only thing we're missing now are like the Gun Cyclers. So like, you know, the ones that are like Energy Blast 3 draw card. I feel like set 7 should have been the time that they reprinted the Gun Cyclers, because they reprinted all the like effect triggers and all the OTs and everything, since that was the start of like a new season. But I suppose whenever the next main set is, presumably that's going to be set 10. You know, that's the start of the next arc of the deluxe season, so that is probably going to be a decent time to reprint the Gun Cyclers if they choose to do it. So yeah. That's probably going to be it for this stream. You know, Atlas isn't here, so we don't have any like other gaming or anything to do. Where the hell is my mouse cursor? So yeah, where can they find you on the social medias?
That on all the relevant sites.
2 G's, 2 Z's. You can find the channel at Nexus at Night. I tend to post more on the hell site that is Twitter, as unusable as it become. I don't know if Atlas posts to Blue Sky as often as I post on Twitter. I post all the time. You can find me at Plasma Eclipse or at Beerus Rudicus on Blue Sky. I don't really post recently. I keep telling myself to be more productive, and then I don't actually do it.
You know,
and yeah, you can find Atlas at Atlas Novak. His personal YouTube channel is The Epileptic Comic. He tends to post like shorts about being a teacher. He does comedy stuff. He also has other podcasts like Generation Dan, where you have like a bunch of people from different generations coming together to talk about stuff. We've been on the podcast before, but that was like ages ago, and I don't think we've done it since.
No, that was a different podcast, I think.
Oh, that's right. That was the other podcast that he did
Bad
for
Reading.
a while before he like switched over to this one. I don't think we've been on this podcast yet. I'm sure he would love to have you on it. I don't know what I would contribute to the podcast. I don't know what I'm contributing to this podcast half the time.
I feel that. I think I'm going to be playing City of the Wolves next week, though. I will say that.
Nice. I am going to be continuing to play the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Enjoy
Because,
it. Enjoy it.
You know, it came out on PC a while ago, and I bought it for like $10-15 off on a sale or something.
Nice.
So I only paid like $40 instead of like $70.
Ed, you missed this part. I replayed Lunar Silver Star Story last week. It was a whole like 20-hour game. I just replayed for no reason. Well, the remaster was coming out. I didn't want to buy it, so I replayed it.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I am probably going to be working on like a re-review of Set 7. I have finally figured out how to find the like card list from the actual like store product page instead of going to the stupid freaking wiki. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a while, is like, you know, as the set approaches its English release, like posting a re-review of it with all of the additional context and information we have. You know, just kind of like a Curry Bandit style, like everything you need to know type of video for it.
That seems like a good plan.
Yeah.
Because things change.
Yeah. So, you know, I will try to work on that and hopefully get it out before the Friday.
Oh, yeah. Fandom Wiki is awful.
Yeah, it's awful. There are like so many fucking ads. Like that website is becoming more and more unusable. The problem is like we don't get the product list in English until it's like close to the release date, so we can't use it for set reviews when the set comes out in Japan. Otherwise, I would just like rip off copy the way Different Fight does it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, that is it for the stream. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bye.